It is led today not by its founders, but by a person who started in
if you were in country music, you had to play the Grand Ole Opry. We have the Sistine Chapel here.
Ryman Hospitality is aggressively deploying capital.
Come on.
Will continue to exist.
So Google is more or less the search engine part of your company. Alphabet has other parts. Let me ask you about some of them. I could.
Yeah.
So,
but maybe if I could step back, Google has many businesses beyond search, right? So you have Google Search, but think about Google Cloud, where we provide software to all enterprises. It's YouTube. There's YouTube and so on.
Yes.
There's Android and so on. So think of Google as our, internet-related businesses.
Okay.
And then we're using technology still, but we have other long-term bets. Waymo was a bet on autonomous self-driving cars, and that's been a long-term bet. We have Wing, which is a drone delivery company. We have Calico, which is pursuing long-term drug discovery for difficult-to-treat diseases, etc. So these are longer-term bets, and that's what we call as other bets.
Okay, so Waymo is a long-term bet, I assume, but have you been in one of those cars?
All the time. I make sure to go periodically and take a ride in Waymo. It's phenomenal. The progress I've seen every 6 months. The last time I was in the car, the third time I was in it, I was on my phone in the back seat. Once in a while, I have to tell myself, look, I'm in a self-driving car. It's amazing even how people sometimes look in. Some people are curious. Some people are kind of like they're used to it.
Do you wear a helmet when you're in there, or you're
no,
confident? No, you don't need that.
Not at all. Quite the contrary. It's pretty relaxing. But, we've been surprised at how much people like the experience. We have scaled up to 100,000 paid rides every week in the US. We recently announced a partnership with Uber, so you can use the Uber app for example, in Atlanta to hail a Waymo car.
You have a business that's the cloud business you mentioned earlier. I think Amazon got to the cloud first, and other big tech companies got there later. How significant is cloud to you now, and are you the person who kind of drove the cloud business? here?
I mean, it was one of the big areas, I bet on as I became CEO in 2015. And, we realized Google was built in the cloud. Google Search, Google Maps, Gmail, everything works. We are a native cloud company. And we are one of the best cloud infrastructure in the world. So we made a decision to really provide it to everyone else. And we brought in CEOs who had real background to do that. Our current CEO, Thomas Kurian, has really helped scale the business. Last quarter, we had over $10 billion in revenues. I think we are probably the number 4th largest software company in the enterprise now. So it's one of our most robust businesses. And in fact, I announced in one of our earnings call recently that we will exit 2024 in YouTube and cloud at a $100 billion run rate. And these were businesses which we built from scratch over the past decade.
So we've talked about cloud, which was a novelty 10 years ago or so, and now AI is a bit of a novelty. What are the areas in the future that you think will be the next great tech interest for Silicon Valley and other people? Is quantum computing one of them?
I would view quantum as one of those foundational technologies like AI. Over time, quantum, is we're fundamentally thinking about how to design different computers than classical computers. So I would view it as just like AI, these are underlying technologies. But these technologies are going to hopefully enable many, many amazing applications on top of them. AI, that's why I've compared AI to fire or electricity. It's going to cut across every sector everywhere, and people are going to be able to rethink. Think of AI as you're getting really intelligent decision-making systems to deploy everywhere.
If you were in country music, you had to play the Grand Ole Opry. We have the Sistine Chapel here.
Let's talk about your background for a moment. So where were you born?
I was born in India, in a city called Chennai in the south of India.
And did you grow up, in middle-class kind of family?
Yeah, it was a comfortable middle-class life in India, but one of the things was technology wasn't always around, and we had to wait for a while before, we were on a waiting list. At the time, only the government made phones, and this was a rotary phone. So it was a 5-year wait list to get a phone, right? And so we got the rotary phone, changed our lives. We were one of the few people in our neighborhood to have it. People would come to our homes to make calls to their loved ones. I recall, it would be a 4-hour trip to find the blood test results for my mother. Sometimes I would go all the way to the hospital, and they would say, no, it's not ready, come back tomorrow. And with the phone, I could call and get that information right away. So it really, showed me the power of technology.
So where did you go to college?
I went to a college called the Indian Institute of Technology. It's a set of, few institutions which are primarily focused on engineering.
And what did you major in?
It's what's today called material science.
And I assume you did okay?
I did okay. I had a chance to, I really got interested in computers and semiconductors through my degree. And so I really, was motivated by what was happening in Silicon Valley. I literally wanted to be in the place where semiconductors were developed, and that's why I had a chance to come to Stanford.
You went to Stanford, get a master's degree in engineering?
That's right. Yeah.
And did you get a scholarship, or how did you afford that?
I mean, it was very fortunate to get a full scholarship. I was a teaching assistant.
Had you left the Had you left India before that? Had you ever been out?
No, when coming to the U.S. was the first time I was ever on a plane.
Okay, so you got your master's degree, and then you went to Wharton to get your MBA.
I'd only seen the West Coast. I wanted to see more of the U.S. Through fall, I came to the East Coast, loved the seasons, so I just wanted to spend time back east. And so, it was also, my goal with it was to get exposed to, I had a deep engineering and scientific background. So chance to get exposed to other walks of life. How does a business work? Get exposed to people from finance, from economics. And so that was all part of what I was looking for.
So you got your MBA from Wharton. Then what did you do?
Pretty much very soon after that, I ended up at Google, but I spent a short time at McKinsey before that. Yeah.
So are your parents alive?
They are, and I see them.
They must be pretty proud of you. You're the CEO of Google and Alphabet. Do they call you all the time with advice, or what do they do?
Both. I'm fortunate. I'm very close to them. I see them almost every week. But my dad is, kind of. It shows me amazingly. He's 82. He relentlessly reads everything about. He's tried to keep up. He's not a software engineer by training, but a few years ago, he wanted to know what a API is, and he has learned it. So he tracks news closely, and so he just talked to me about it.
Well, 82 is young. The President of the United States is 82, so you're still young.
There you go.
And your mother, you talk to her?
Yeah, all the time, and she's. I got my love of reading from a very young age from her. Due to financial circumstances, she was working as a stenographer. She stopped working to support the family, but she was a voracious reader, and that's where I got my love of reading from. And so.
And did you meet your wife at Wharton, Stanford, or where?
Back, we both went to IIT, Indian Institute of Technology. She was, at that time there weren't that many women, so she was a pioneer in her own way of breaking through. And so I met my wife in undergraduate.
Okay, and so you've now been married how long?
Over 25 years.
25 years, and you have 2 children?
2 children, that's right.
And do they run around Silicon Valley bragging, saying my father is the CEO of Google, or they don't do
Quite the contrary. I think they're trying to find their own voice, and we hardly talk about my role or anything in the context of my family.
Let's say you go to a restaurant in Silicon Valley with your wife. Do people come up with resumes all the time, or ideas for funding things? How does that work?
People less the resume part. Maybe people want a picture or want to say hello, and so that does happen, particularly in Silicon Valley. But doesn't always happen. I've kept a reasonably private life, so that helps, I think. Humans interact with the world in very natural ways. We see things, we hear things, we speak. And so that's an example of how we can make search better, and AI can play a role.
If you were in country music, you had to play the Grand Ole Opry. We have the Sistine Chapel here.
Ryman Hospitality is aggressive.
Okay, let's talk about the company today. So, as I mentioned earlier, you have, I think it's 182,000 employees, and the company has market capitalization today of about $2.5 trillion or something?
Yeah, it's over $2 trillion. Yeah.
Over $2 trillion. So the market capitalization has doubled since you've been the CEO, and the stock price has more than doubled since you've been the CEO. So do you tell the founders, look, you've done a great job, and maybe they should give you a big piece of the company or something?
Look, no, I'm very fortunate to be compensated well. Look, I think for me, as a technologist, I feel like I'm at the front row of dreamt about things like AI for a long time. And to actually see it getting built now, and to see this transition play out in front of us, to me, that's the most motivating thing I could ask for.
I also know that Google in the early days had a policy of free food for its employees, and I sampled some of your free food at lunch today. It was very good.
Yeah.
You obviously have to spend a lot of money. You've got 182,000 employees, so giving them lunch or breakfast or dinner every day, or for many of them every day, you must have a calculation that says, are we spending this much on food? We're getting this much higher productivity, and how do you assess that? And why do you think other companies don't give away food as much as you do?
Look, quite the contrary. I think in technology, if you go to the Bay Area, I think a set of things which Google has done as part of now standard modern workplaces in the Bay Area. But people value in-person collaboration. To us, I can recall several times, when I was working at Google early on, being in cafes, meeting someone else, talking, getting excited about something. And so it sparks creativity, it creates a community, and I think the benefit that comes out of it, far dwarfs the costs associated with it.
Google is regularly considered to be one of the most favorable places to work for employees, always high in surveys. And so I assume you've got lots of people who always want to come here. How many people a year try to apply for jobs at Google? I assume it's 1 million people or something more than that.
What I'm proud of is the metric I look at is when we make an offer, what percentage of people accept the offer, and it is.
What percentage is that?
It's almost close to 90%, right? So typically,
if somebody wants to get a job, somebody's watching this and says, I want to work at Google, what are you looking for? High IQs, high work quotient? And it used to be said that you had a very complicated interview process. I don't know if you still have that, but what's the best way to get a job here for an entry-level person?
Look, we are, it depends on whether you're in engineering or something else, but, we are, if you're in engineering, we are looking for really good programmers, people who understand computer science well, and, can be dynamically, are willing to learn and grow, apply themselves into new situations and do well. But we are really looking for, superstar software engineers, right? So
when you're doing a search yourself, let's suppose you want to get information, do you ever have frustrations that you can't get what you want? I mean, sometimes I can't find what I want, but I'm not the CEO of Google, so I assume you can have better access to the search than I can.
No, there are, one of the reasons I'm so excited about AI improving search is, we're constantly, people don't always formulate the right queries. We are constantly working to make search easier to use. So for example, you can now, speak with search, as well as take pictures and ask search questions. In many countries, for example, in places like India, a large volume of our queries actually come by people just talking to search. And because people get phone, not everyone is comfortable typing in these phones, they just talk to Google. Similarly, what we call visual search, we have a product called Google Lens, and you can take a picture and ask questions. We get billions of queries through visual search. Humans interact with the world in very natural ways. We see things, we hear things, we speak. And so that's an example of how we can make search better, and AI can play a role. I constantly am challenging our product, find things we could be doing better, and I'm emailing my teams.
So leaving the US government aside, what do you see as the biggest challenge to Google and Alphabet going forward? Is it competitors coming along? Is it new technology that you're not in yet coming along and being very important? Or just keeping your organization efficient and not bureaucratic? What do you see as the biggest challenges?
Look, one of the things I would say, because we've always been a foundational technology company, and we are working on these technologies which can apply across many things, I think one of the things which is unique to Google and Alphabet is, we have a chance to go do many things, but being disciplined, doing a few things and doing them well, and doing it with the relentless focus on innovation, and doing it as efficiently as possible as a company with discipline, is what leads to long-term success. And so I think that's what I think about, right? Where all can we do it ourselves as a company? Where do we partner and enable others? That's why Google Cloud has been a big part of our focus, because there are many sectors in which the best way we can help the world and have a good business doing so is by providing our technology and solutions to others. And so, it's getting that balance right.
Okay, there are a couple of issues that I would like to discuss when it comes to Google. As a technologist myself, Google, a lot of the products that they put out are free. And when I had a small business, the computer services that I had, the IT service, Google was really instrumental in my, in the success of my business at the time, because I was not paying Google anything in terms of getting customers to the, customers to the business. And so a lot of the tools that Google put out there are free for for businesses, right? And I think sometimes Google is not is not very focused on one product. They're focused on multiple products, and thus multiple products, and then they're not able to follow through and to make them successful. There are a lot of products that Google just discontinued them, right? So right now, a lot of people they know Google about the search. They talk about the search, but as a technologist, we deal with the developer side. We deal with APIs. So we also deal with cloud. And a lot of people, they don't know that Google has another business, which is cloud, right? And for businesses, you can host your websites, your applications, your data, on all of those. And the problem is, when you ask me if I have to go in terms of let's say I have an application, what kind of cloud would you like to use? Google doesn't come up very naturally. The one that comes up a bit naturally is AWS, which is Amazon Cloud Service, Amazon Web Services. So even though Google is known for search, but they are not very known for cloud. You see my point? So I'm not sure in the long term if Google will be able to succeed. But right now, a lot of people they talk about clouds. Let's say if you go to a freelancing website, if you look at the job posts, right? A lot of job posts are about problems that concerns the AWS. Okay, fixing problems with AWS, setting it up, so on and so forth. You rarely see somebody posting a job about Google Cloud. You see Microsoft, right? But you don't see Google Cloud. So it seems to me, even though Google has good products, but they spread themselves thin to the point where a lot of people, they do not understand. They don't know if Google has our product or not. You see? And that's the thing. That's the problem. Let me, okay, the Waymo. Waymo is autonomous car, right? But when you think about autopilot cars, what kind of a company comes in mind? The company that comes in mind is Tesla. You see? So for some reason, Google is not capturing the attention of the users, even though they've been a lot of, they invested a lot of money. Okay. But if I wanted to buy a car, I'm not thinking about buying a Waymo. You see my point? Okay. Even though I'm very savvy in technology, I follow all this stuff. Yet I am not really choosing Google. For some reason, Google did not really differentiate themselves. Okay. In terms of the product, and I think one problem is they are their focus is very large, right? They are dealing with different products. Okay, so you have Google TV, I mean, you have YouTube. There are many other products. You have YouTube TV, right? You have Google Search. The Google Search, yeah, that's where the money is. I think that's how they were able to make a lot of money. So Google is not really working on one product and differentiating themselves. And unfortunately, other companies like Tesla and Amazon, for whatever reason, they are able to differentiate themselves. Even Amazon is using, Amazon is everywhere. The only thing that they didn't do it is Amazon Phone. Like they want to do everything, right? But at least in the cloud business, Amazon is able to differentiate themselves. They became a name, they got a recognition when it comes to cloud, right? So what's the other point I would like to make? And right now, especially, okay, the other example is the AI, right? The AI search. Even, Google has been doing this for years, right? Artificial intelligence. But out of nowhere, OpenAI came and they took the spotlight. Okay, Google has been doing this for years, for decades, but suddenly another company came and took the spotlight. So this is the problem that I'm talking about. Even though Google works on a product, then suddenly a different company comes in and they steal the spotlight, they steal the whole attention. And I think Google need a restructure, okay, in terms of what type of goals they wanted to follow. Because right now, they are not focused and they have different products. But unfortunately, only a few of the products are very efficient, are being used by, YouTube is one of them. YouTube is the main, this YouTube actually is able really to capture the attention of a lot of people, you see. But when it comes to cloud or autonomous cars, okay, or what else? Yes, so these are things that Google is not able to really capture the market. Okay, so there's a lot of challenges in terms of being the main source of being the main driving force for a product. Okay, so these are a few thoughts about Google. If you have a different perspective, if you wanted to point out something that's important that I did not mention it, you can comment below. And I would also appreciate if you like the video, share it. It will help a lot. Thanks.